Focus on the savvy side of 9 to 5 with the Focus Group.
Try, really try.
Listen, laugh, and learn with Tim and John.
I never try anything. I just do it.
Welcome back to the Focus Group. John Nash with guest host Keith Price.
Hello.
Comedian, actor, writer, and radio personality writ large.
Voila.
So Keith,
Yes, my dog.
while we were at break, a bunch of people have chimed in with names of the clip,
Okay.
and they've done well. They've done very well. So I'm just going to say to Bob and Rob and Billy and Dan and Larry,
Did they win?
there's a bunch of people that have excellent job, guys. I'm not going to release it. We're not going to say anything right now because,
Do
that's.
they still have to wait?
Well, we wait for a little bit. Yeah, we always want to get as much in as possible, and then I think what we might do is if some people might get copies of Blue Velvet, and some people might get Focus Group socks because Tim found a stash of socks. Hey,
I love the socks.
without further ado, I set this up before we went to
Sure.
break. So I'm going to say it this way. My husband, Bob, has a coworker who said to him the other day, "You better get ready to flee town because the world gays are coming in." Which I thought was great. The world gays.
The world gays.
World gay.
The world game.
But when I reached out to Keith and said, "Do you want to sit in with me on the show?" And then I know that you are Mr. Broadway and show.
I do enjoy.
So you've put together a great list of
love
stuff that people can see if they're in town, Broadway, off-Broadway, and as the bonus round, cabaret as well, which I really highly recommend. So the first item on your list that I had on mine was called The Prom.
Yes.
So tell us about The Prom.
The Prom is a 7-time Tony Award nominated musical.
Really?
Yeah, 7 Tonys, including Best Actor, 2 Best Actresses, Beth Level, Caitlin Kinnunen, who's the little young ingenue, and Brooks Ashmanskis, who is one of the kind of veteran actors that's like, everyone in Broadway knows who he is, but the rest of the world is now finding out who he is, if that makes sense. But it's a beautiful story about, the 2 young girls who want to go to the prom together and all of the frivolity, the crazy people that don't want that to happen. And then there's these 4 actors who come from New York because they need a cause. And they go, cause celebre, and they go to this small town in Indiana to help this young lesbian get her prom. And it is just one of the most delightful, one of the most touching. It's also one of the true kind of throwbacks to good musical comedy. Angie Schwarra, I haven't forgotten about you, Angie, girl. Miss Angie has a number. Give him the zazz. That's all I got to say.
All right, so in your critique, how is the score and the music? Memorable?
Fabulous. Memorable.
Does it hits that bar of
It hits
you
that
leave
bar
the theater
of
humming a tune
if you
or
don't walk
something?
out, I can tell you, if you don't walk out humming, give him the zazz, then you haven't seen a show.
Then you need to lose your
And
gay
that's
card.
and really, that's like the supporting the featured actor character that she did not get nominated for, but that's another story. I got a lot of those on that list. Christopher Sieber, I'm sorry they didn't get you either. Josh Lamont, fabulous. I'm just saying, these are
You know
people.
what? If Keith were given an acceptance speech at the Oscars, the conductor would start doing
They're
his
going to do
thing
the
right
music
now,
for me.
right?
And I'll be like, and
music's
still,
coming.
I love them. No.
All right, so The Prom.
The Prom. It is definitely high on the list if you're talking about coming to New York for World Gay Pride. Like, if you were gay and you don't...
you're a world gay.
If you're a world gay and you come to New York City and you don't try to see the prom while you're in New York, then what kind of gay are you? I'm just saying. You can't be that gay.
All right.
I have a friend of mine who is gay that doesn't want to see the prom, but he's got a whole other series of issues. That's
All
the
right.
whole story.
Next on our list here is Aint Too Proud.
Oh, Ain't Too Proud. Ain't Too Proud.
I see ads on TV for this, and it's the Life and Times of the Temptations. Another unique opportunity like Motown
Yep.
to have an amazing African-American cast on stage and an ensemble. So you've seen this.
I've seen this one.
And how is it?
I got to tell you, it is one of the most hopping, jumping, popping. It's like everything that you would want in a musical bio, something or another. And this is the thing. Who's it? Dominique Morisseau wrote the book for the show. And it kind of follows along the lines of there's a documentary or a movie docudrama called The Temptation Story. And it kind of follows that path of that story.
Okay.
And it is high drama, honey. They give you all the ups and downs, as well as the most insane amount of talent on that stage. I am telling you.
Could I ask you a weird question? Maybe not so weird. What do you think the average age of an actor is in
Aint Too Proud? Couldn't probably be anywhere between 25 and 30 to 33.
But you really are narrowing that range.
Well, because I mean, don't get me wrong. Derek Baskins is a little bit out of the age range, and he's the lead that got nominated for lead actor. But he's older than a lot of the people in the cast. Like, there's at least a 10-year difference between him and the other folks. I mean, but those kids are like in their dancing, singing primes, just like the actual people. Which
leads me to dovetail onto that point. Yeah. Is there a dancing, singing prime?
Whew. I think there is. I mean, I think as you get older, you slow down maybe a little bit. Like, some of the great dancers of the world will tell you that they can't kick and carry on like that, but they still have their rhythm and they still have their essence. But like in terms
of physical,
but the sheer physical nature of the kind of dance that I saw in Aint Too Proud, Sergio Trujillo is the choreographer nominated for a Tony. If they like that dancing, I was exhausted after the second or third number. So I kept, and I was just watching.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I'm just sitting my big behind watching. So to see them carry on the way that those kids carrying on that stage, it was mind-blowing.
I tell you, that would have been a fascinating casting to watch.
Oh, my gosh.
Because I wonder, they probably had a range of super talented people, and then to narrow that down.
And, the cast that they have, in that cast right now, there's a young man, Jeremy Pope, who's nominated for featured actor in a musical. Jeremy Pope and Ephraim Sykes. And Jeremy Pope also is nominated for a play that's closed called Choir Boy.
I remember Choir Boy,
yeah. And he was in that play, and he got nominated for lead actor in a play in that show.
Some of these performers are so talented.
They're doing it.
And what a prime time. All right, next up is a one I had never heard of called Hadestown.
Hadestown is the...
It's dark and grim.
It's dark and grim. It takes place in hell, so there you go. The story of Persephone and it's like they've zhuzhed up the Greek telling of that story.
Greek myth.
And it is, I have not yet had a chance to see this, although I have met a lot of the folks like the choreographer, David Newman.
And it's a musical.
And the woman...
Why do the minute I see this, I think to myself, the demon Barbara Fleet.
Yes,
Street.
exactly.
It's like Sweeney Todd
well, it's kind of that kind of, it's heaven and hell, the battle between, and David Newman, who's a choreographer, who's nominated, and Andre DeShields nominated as well. I think the leads in that show on oh my God, I'm doing this off the top of my head because we couldn't print.
Well, it's amazing you're doing off the top of your head.
Mitchell, oh my God, she's Andrea Gray. That's it, Gray, and Ava Noblezada, and Patrick Page. Anyway, Mr. Page, you know who you are. And this cast, though, the show itself it started off in the lower portions of the New York Theater Workshop area. Yep. And it was something that went to Toronto, had a whole...
So they worked it.
Went to London, had a whole change, and then brought it from London here. What we're seeing now is the London cast. And Anais Mitchell, who wrote the book, music, and the lyrics for that show, she is like one of the few women that's ever been nominated for that particular, like has had that role as both the book writer as well as the music and lyrics. And
interesting. So
she's kind of a thing. And like the first person to ever actually win the Tony for music and lyrics as a woman was just recently was Cyndi Lauper for Kinky Boots.
That's the last time that's happened.
That a woman has won for both. And I think last, and...
So you've not seen this, but you want to see it.
I want to see this. This is on my list of things to see.
And it should be on the list of the world gays.
Exactly, because it's and again, for the world gays who love the theater, because we have to have that at addendum, that's going to be the show that probably is going to walk away with the most Tonys.
Wow, okay. Next up, we have Be More Chill.
Be More Chill. Be More Chill is...
So I cannot even figure out what Be More Chill is from the poster, but I'm assuming it's about a teenager.
It's a teen-driven story, It's based on a book. See, I have those in my notes. I didn't have his name, remember, but it was the music and lyrics by a man named Joe Iconis, who has a whole downtown reputation. Everyone downtown knows him. He is like the musical genius of the downtown area. And so this, having made the mark to get to Broadway now with Be More Chill, is a huge, huge feat for him because he's got such a wonderful library of songs and music that people are dying to sing. It's like, you know what I mean?
Shows.
In his shows and just in his cadre of things. And it's great because he has another show that's going to be going off Broadway this summer, but it'll be later on after Pride that they're going to start doing called The Broadway Bounty Hunter with Annie Golden from Orange is the New Black.
Yeah.
She's the silent woman, and she's going to be the lead. He wrote that show basically.
So what is Be More Chill about?
Be More Chill is one of those teen stories about the kids who there's a music that they listen to with their headphones, and it's what it creates for them, the mood that they have, and how they interact with each other. It's kind of like.
So it's like the earbuds go in, they're in their own world.
They're on their world.
Somehow that world is articulated on stage.
But it's a beautiful tale for kids to see, for the young. It's become a catch thing for a younger audience that, zeitgeist like a producer's kind of thing. But it's really designed for a younger audience. And it is one of those shows that before it actually came to Broadway, like the number of downloads on Spotify that it had gotten
just on the music.
Just for the music alone was like into the millions.
So in other words, it's got a good book.
It's got a good story. It didn't get a lot of love for the Tonys, but I think it's going to be one of those stories that a lot of the Tony critics didn't love it, but the rest of the population
liked it.
And that'll kind of buoy it through the rest of the season.
Now, this next one, the last two, I'm curious to see what you say about. Mm-hmm. So the first one's Pretty Woman, and of course that is based on the movie with Julia Roberts and Richard Gere.
Richard Gere with Andy Carl and Samantha Barks.
But is it literally like a
the thing is, in the age of the Me Too, everyone has to kind of temper these stories that involve the man saving the woman. The hooker with the heart of gold. They have to temper those stories.
The hooker with the heart of gold.
You got to temper the stories a little bit. But Samantha Barks does a magnificent job in that role as Vivi, I believe her name is Vivian. And Andy Carl playing the Richard Gere role, phenomenal.
How old is the male lead, do you think?
Andy Carl is probably 40.
Oh, so they really are casting
They kind of cast it close to
He's a businessman. He's got a career, more like the movie.
And he plays it and those of you who know Andy Carl know that he's a big, giant goofball in general. And so watching him play this kind of like square character for me is fun, just because. And then, of course, the supporting cast, Eric Anderson, who I think got robbed this year from the Tonys because as a featured actor, he really does drive a lot of the movement for the story. Orfeh, my girl Orfeh, she should have been nominated because, again, killer range, killer song. One song, you come out, you blow it out of the water. That's what people come to see. And so I feel like, and then of course she has a really great character as well. But I think that they suffered from the fact that they started back in August and they've survived.
They've survived.
And then all of these other shows that we've talked about are shows that dropped like within the last 6 weeks. So those shows got all the attention when it came time for nominations, and the show that's been open kind of got ignored. So
wow, and the last on this like movie to musical route is Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice, yeah, I just saw that last night.
Yeah, Keith, I got to tell you, I called up this graphic, and I love what they did. So if you don't happen to be watching the video stream, you're listening to the audio. It says Beetlejuice, the musical. Because remember in the movie, you had to say his name 3 times, which I thought was really crazy. Why do I thought to myself, didn't they do this? It seems so perfectly set up to be a stage play.
Well, I mean, this show that we're seeing now is the second incarnation of the show because they had a run out of town in D.C.
So I'm not crazy. There wasn't a Beetlejuice the musical.
Yeah,
okay.
That was in D.C. and that's the show that they brought back to New York
after working on
it and doing some interesting changes for things. I didn't get to see it in D.C., but I saw it last night, and I got to tell you,
you saw it last night?
I saw it last night, and that show is you got to be ready for high energy. You have to be ready for it's a visual feast because they're doing things.
I can imagine.
They've got the sandworms. They've got, you know, these great things that they're doing with graphics. The songs. I have to be honest because I don't want to act
Don't lie.
But I'm going to tell you something. The singers, the actors, the performers that are in there, they're giving absolutely everything. Every vocal moment is genius. I didn't walk away with a song. That was the only thing. Everything else was fantastic, but that was the only thing about this show. I didn't get to walk away with a song. And I mean, and I vaguely remember some of it, but nothing just like, you know how some things just kick you right in the throat.
Yeah.
It didn't do that for me. And I felt bad because I love
firing on all cylinders.
And it was just it just kind of, like, ooh.
You know,
but there was like, the numbers themselves are big and the performances are huge. Alex Brightman playing Beetlejuice shut the front door. And this young girl, Sophia Ann Caruso. When she opens her mouth, you're just like, what? It's like, what kind of voice is that?
Amazing, isn't
Who
it?
does this? Alex Brightman, Carrie Butler. I love Carrie Butler.
So here's one for you. My downstairs neighbor uptown where I live, he and his wife live below us. They have a beautiful new baby boy, but he is a musical director. And he has been working on a show for the last several months. He calls it a jukebox musical. But he said it's constantly being worked. And they took it to San Francisco. They came back with reams of notes, and now they're ripping some of the songs apart. And I said to him, is it really? Oh, yeah. He goes, to get it to the point of a memorable, great book, it goes through a lot.
Yeah,
It's time-consuming. It's not like it's sometimes months and years before these things hit the stage, right?
But again, though, like I said, do not sleep on Beetlejuice because it is a lot of fun. That's the thing.
Oh, got it. All right. So visually, you're going to be like da-da-da-da-da.
Visually, it's gonna get you. The songs are fun in the moment, but like I said, a lot of them didn't stick with me because there's a lot of lyrics, I should say, that they use in the song. So it's very wordy. A patter.
It's not like Camelot. Oh, what do the simple folk do to help pick them up when they're blue? They sit around all day in a very ordinary way, and that's what simple folk do. That's a song from Camelot.
Yes, but it's like there's a lot of patter in between those beats, though, in some of these songs. God bless them because I couldn't. I don't know how easy it is to memorize that kind of stuff because.
Okay, it's think of how hard it is, and then you're doing your line, then you're hitting your mark, then you're doing this, then you're doing that.
And these guys, the singing, the dancing, it's wonderful. The characterization stuff is fabulous. But there's a lot of moments in that movie too, or in the show that kind of throw back to the movie, like the shrunken-headed.
Yeah.
Thing, you have a lot of that energy there too. So I'm not poo-pooing it. I don't want you to think I was poo-pooing it. It's just that, like I said, I have to be honest about the songs because for someone like me, I need a song too.
A hook.
But the whole thing is just Alex Timbers, your direction, fabulous. He didn't get a nomination either, but that's another story.
Those Emmys don't show anybody love. All right, off Broadway, there are two shows. One I know, and I've heard from people, if I'm thinking the right thing, The Play That Goes Wrong.
Play That Goes Wrong.
It's been on for a while.
Actually, that play transferred from Broadway
to off-Broadway.
Back to off-Broadway, only because there was a venue and it's such a need. It was one of those shows that honestly people... It was at one point one of the longest running plays in New York.
And the key thing here about this is a play.
It's a play.
So, for those of you who, we've been talking musicals and
Right.
big stage productions, sometimes people just want to go to a play.
And I have a list of the Broadway ones. It's like I said, I couldn't use the printer, so I'm slowly trying to be subtle and pull up the list. But like on Broadway right now, there are lots of really great names of people that are doing stuff. We have All My Sons right now. It's oh gosh, the playwright's name just went out of my head. Wrote The Crucible, Arthur Miller.
Wow, okay.
So All My Sons with Annette Bening.
Yes,
and Tracy
I
Letts
saw her profile on
Benjamin
CBS
Walker.
this morning, yeah.
Yeah, and so that's
There's a scene they show her where she's like, two sons, military, one goes off, I think, doesn't come home from war, and it's like a set
moment,
like it's a Victorian kind of farmhouse, and it looks like everybody's like vision of what Iowa or like whatever that would look like.
And then it just gets destroyed.
So Play That Goes Wrong is a comedy.
It's comedy. It's a farcical comedy. You know, it's basically
seen the ads on
Yeah,
it.
it's just a stage
fun.
theater thing where everybody, you know, everything that could go wrong in a production goes wrong. You know what I mean? Like sets fall, pieces fall, but it's so much fun for everybody. That's another one.
And this other one, which I think is brilliant, is called Camp Morningwood.
Yeah, Morningwood. Yes.
So before the show, I said to Keith that John Waters did a summer camp. I don't know. It was either this year or last year, and everybody. It was vodka shots. It was like this crazy. I thought this was his when I started to pay attention to it, but you know, and it's a musical.
A very naked musical.
Oh, really? There's nudity.
There's after about 15 minutes in, the clothes come off. I've been told. I actually just did
Is this kind of like Naked Boy Singing?
It is a combination, as they said to me, of a Rocky Horror Picture Show meets Naked Boys Singing. It's like you didn't respond.
That's because immediately when you said it's a combination and you said Rocky Horror, I automatically go to Frankenfurter, sweet transvestite from transsexual Transylvania. And in fact, my brain literally called up that video clip, and I'm like, okay, so how does that match with Naked Boys Singing?
Well, you know, it is
Rocky, I guess.
Well, there's a couple. A gay couple on their drive, they wind up ending up in they're like going through issues with their relationship. So they're trying to figure out their relationship.
You know,
what they're going to do.
Setting up exactly like Rocky Horror would set it up.
Exactly. And then they end up driving somewhere and getting lost and ending up at this nudist camp. And in the middle of the nudist camp, there's a lot of
Morningwood. Got it. All right.
Boom.
Now,
and everyone, I actually, in I guess a week and a half, 2 weeks, I'll have a podcast where I've talked to everybody that was involved with the show. I had all of the actors.
To remind everybody again, that podcast is Keith Price's Curtain Call.
It's my Chiron!
Wait, you got to be nice. You have to be nice to these guys. They push buttons. They can make things. You talk about the play that goes wrong.
Exactly.
You want to see a show that goes wrong.
The show that goes wrong.
I mean,
they bop the boop.
I tell you, Garrett and Steve are very patient. They put up with the puppet. They put up with a lot of things.
So
and then they tell you after the show, it was a great show. And then they'll say, especially the puppet part. Yeah, I put that up there. Some of your many famous faces.
All right, some of the controversial.
Wrapping up because we're running out of time.
Oh, no.
We're okay. We're running out, but we're okay. It's
right.
balancing out.
Good or bad?
Cabaret. Keith has done everybody a huge favor by mentioning, I think it's 3 shows.
Yes.
54 Below.
Yes, 54 Below.
Laura
Feinstein's 54 Below.
Feinstein's 54 Below. Laura Osnes and Tony Yazbek.
Yes.
And they're doing songs by Gershwin and more.
Yes.
Now, if you've never been to Feinstein's 54 Below.
Have you been?
Yes.
Okay.
I saw Cheetah Rivera perform there.
Yes.
We were literally 4 rows from the stage. She's 80-something. She came
electric,
out and
baby.
she put on one hell of it was fun. I mean, I can't.
And she doesn't dance the way she probably would have years ago.
She moves, but she's not. But you know her voice. She has a presence, and she involved the whole band. And you know, I'm lighting up talking about it because I don't get to see a lot of shows or cabaret, but there's something magical about cabaret, which I'm glad you included.
You're the classic example of what I try to explain to people. Why, if you are a theater fan and you're coming to New York City and you're planning to do like theater runs and all that kind of stuff, that you really should stop and see what's happening at Feinstein's 54 Below or at the Green Room 42, which is another space, and see who's there. Because if you're a real fan of the theater, you will find out that like a lot of your favorite people are doing shows. Like Cheetah Rivera is somebody that she's actually doing a round of shows there right now, soon coming up actually. But like during the month of Pride, it's like this is like another example of something else that is different, but yet still has that same kind of appeal. And if you're, like I said, if you're a fan of the person that's performing, you're going to get to see them do stuff in a way that they want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't have to be doing a script on Broadway or a musical thing. I feel
super lucky that I saw Bobby Short at the Carlisle before he retired and
then passed away.
And it was actually a very close. God bless him that he got to do what he loved all the way up until the end. Marilyn May, we've interviewed her on the show.
The absolute most.
But she's got a voice the size of a stadium.
Well, I love me some Marilyn May.
But she holds a room
That's it.
She captivates the audience. She's intimate, and her voice is beautiful. And what Keith and I are talking about her, the Carlisle was where Bobby Short was, and Marilyn May, I saw it. She was in our studio. We also saw her at 54 Feinstein's 54 Below. What is Green Room?
The Green Room 42 is one of the newer spaces that's in the Yotel Hotel.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right on
What a strange corner that
It's
is.
an odd corner, 42nd and like 10th.
It's the exit of the Lincoln Tunnel.
And you're right there. Ba-boom. Cabaret by the tunnel.
And the Yotel is a place you sleep in a tube. It's kind of like the movie Sleeper with Woody Allen.
It's really small space.
Wow,
hotel.
okay.
But that cabaret room is the latest that has been available to performing artists, and they have really come to love that space because there's a little bit difference. State of the art. The food is fabulous. The cover doesn't usually fluctuate more than $25 per person. It's just, and it is, it's another space to enjoy your favorite artists if you are someone who's coming to New York.
Have you been there?
I've been there before. As a matter of fact, June 15th, I believe it is. It's on my thing, but you'll go to her website. One of my favorite people is a woman named Vivian Reed, 2-time Tony Award winning.
That name, yeah.
Vivian Reed, honey, she was nominated for Bubbling Brown Sugar. This is how far back she goes. Way back when.
How old is she?
Well, I don't think she wants me to give her age, but she's living. It's none of my business how old she is.
You are so...
She's living.
You're courteous and you're kind.
But let me tell you something. You want to go see a performance of someone who has been in the business as well as the Marilyn Mays and the stuff of the world, who is still kicking it and still giving you glamour on that stage. Honey, Miss Vivian Reed is
Agree,
fabulous.
though, that it's a rarefied crowd?
It is.
And that it's getting smaller, and I'm not sure who these new voices are that might come to fill the gaps.
Yeah. It's a very interesting time, too, that there's not a lot of singers like that.
That's what, when we interviewed Marilyn May, she said that. She said that the world she came out of fostered and created and really just that talent, but now it's so competitive. You got to fill the room. You have to guarantee receipts.
If you don't have enough followers on your Twitter, they don't want to hire you. If you don't have enough Facebook friends
or likes, My favorite thing in the world is likes on Facebook. I like toothpaste. I like potatoes. I like water. Does that mean I'm buying them every second? And
But I don't want to sleep on Miss Vivian Reed because I forgot the date. It's June 15th, I believe it is, at 7 o'clock. And if not, go to vivianreed.com. Easy and get that as well. And also, too, another space that I've forgotten about, too, is the Cutting Room here in New York City.
Cutting Room, I'm curious about that. So that's still up and running?
That's still open. They've moved. I remember it used to be like on 25th Street. It's now moved like further uptown, but it's like in the 30s somewhere in the Murray Hill area, kind of. And there's a wonderful young woman who's going to be performing, and I'm going to be interviewing her this week. Her name is Jessica Fontana, and Jessica Fontana is, she's one of those people who I've come to get to know and just love.
How old is she?
She is ingenue-ish. That's our big thing. Okay. She's probably late.
Oh, I got to stop this. I'm asking all these age questions.
All up in her business.
How old is she? How old is
she? All up in your business, Jessica. Anyway, but she's going to be doing a show at the Cutting Room on the 11th and I believe the 17th.
Are you talking about like an hour and 20 minutes?
Hour 20-minute set, and
that's a lot of work.
And she's one of those actresses like Laura Osnes, who we mentioned earlier. She's kind of in that same category of actresses that are, soprano-like, and they can sing and do all of these things, and very ingenue-ish, like young and cute and pert and fabulous, and they can sing and do all of these wonderful things. And she's one of them, and it's really great because I got to meet her, and then it turns out her husband, y'all, is nominated for a Tony for Tootsie.
Wow.
Not that takes anything away from her as a talent, but it helped me get to meet him because I met her first.
5 stars. That like on Amazon, it's a 5-star review. I met the husband.
All
right, we got to wrap up. Let everybody know where they can find everything about the fabulous Keith Price.
They can come to my website, keithpricecomic.com, or if they want to know more about the podcast, keithpricecurtaincall.com. Actually goes to the same place, but that's because I've learned how to do that. And I've learned how to work that damn techno
Connecting
stuff.
URLs.
Exactly, baby.
Very modern.
You're going to end up in the same spot.
Very modern.
That's where you can go to find out more about that. You can find out about the latest podcasts. I have a blog, kpcurtaincall.com. You can go there and see the list. It's all connected to everything.
Well, a very, very big thank you for sitting in today with me on the show. Everybody, I hope you enjoyed Mr. Keith Price. You will be back.
Yes. Now, did you tell them what the winners, with the quotes
No,
were?
that comes later. That comes later. They don't get to know until later. But a lot of people guessed it correctly. So,
all right.
Big thank you to Garrett and Steve. Thanks, guys. Welcome to calendar summer. You know me, the calendar. I'm like, it's the fifth week of the fourth week of the fifth month of the new year. Tim makes bust my ass on this one. A big thank you to Deep Discount. Thank you to them today for letting us give away copies of this week's release, Blue Velvet on Criterion Collection. And it's the site-wide sale. So Sharky says the puppet, which people seem to love it, or maybe they actually hate it.
You know what? They'll get over it. They'll go on with you. Will do.
You know what? You are darn right about that. If I want to do the puppet, it's my show.
That's right.
Anyway, thank you to Deep Discount. As Tim likes to say, or he likes to sometimes not say it correctly, don't text and drive, arrive alive. And see, we even created this little graphic for him. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you in the new week.
It's the Focus Group with Tim Bennett and John Nash. Accessible on all platforms. Subscribe, like, and rate us on your platform of choice. Learn more at focusgroupradio.com.
That was a stunning focus group.